Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is another one of our car talk episodes, and today we decided to talk about the death of the estate car. Because unfortunately, especially not necessarily in the UK, in Europe and the rest of the world, but in the UK definitely, a lot of car manufacturers are no longer making for our market estate cars because they all seem to have gone for SUVs now. If you're in services like the police and bits and pieces like that, companies will still make estate cars for them, but for the actual normal market, unfortunately they're stopping now. And we think it's a crying shame because estate cars have always been a part of our lives. They've always been the family vehicles and, you know, the vehicles you use to take stuff to the tip because of the size of them and everything like that. And yeah, it's a real shame to see something like that disappearing from our roads.
I believe so, 100%. I mean, it might sound a bit dramatic saying the death of an estate car, but honestly, I heard that apparently Volvo, of all of them, are not going to be doing estate cars in the UK anymore. And I think that deserves a minute's silence, to be honest, because they were the OG estate car makers for, well, all of Europe, really. Yeah. And probably beyond, because, I mean, you see them on American TV shows. I mean, if you're in America, let us know what you think about the Volvos and the estate cars, because, I mean, they're...
Well, you think of the Volvo 240, for example, was a stalwart of the roads, wasn't it? That was the estate car.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, don't get me wrong, people take the mickey out and say they look like a brick. And, I mean, to be honest, when I grew up, I remember my dad saying that... my dad and that generation, the estate cars were old man's cars. They were soccer mum cars. They were farmers' cars down in Devon and things like that, because they weren't the desirable car to have back then, because they didn't really make...
They didn't really make a sporty one, did they?
No, so yeah, if you think about today's ones, when you can get like the Golf R estate, you could get the ST Focus estate for a while.
Volvo 850R and things like that.
That's it. And then, I mean, of course, there's the JDM market, which has come into play a lot more with imports and things like that. Over the last few years, I mean, you got the Stygia or Stagia. Forgive me if I'm butchering the Japanese pronunciation. And then you had things like the Mitsubishi Airtrek, which is basically an Evo estate, and things like that. So, I mean, there's some very cool ones around, I think. But, I mean, back in those days, I suppose in the 70s, 80s, there wasn't as many, and a lot of them came in, I mean, Britain being Britain, a lot of them came in brown or beige or grey. So they weren't exactly the awesome station wagons you see in the American shows.
But when you speak to most people, they were the family wagons. They were what people remember going on holiday in.
Well, that's it. And I mean, if you wanted to go back, I mean, I don't know if you'd class them as estate cars, but I mean, if you go back to some of the ones we saw today in the car show we've been to, like the Travellers, the Morris Travellers, and the... Did they call the Mini the Clubman, or was that the Mini Traveller? They had the wooden back on it as well. They actually had the wooden back on them, a bit like the... And if you're from the States or Canada or somewhere...
Was it a Countryman?
That was it, a Countryman, yeah. And I would say, but if you're from the States or somewhere, it's a bit like the Woodies, the old Woodies, the same thing as that. But
the wagons and bits and pieces like that.
Yeah, in Britain we had them. And I mean, funny enough, my mother-in-law was telling me earlier that her dad had one of them, and he used to take a load of the kids from the street down to the beach, like obviously the parents knowing. But yeah, he used to take the kids down to the beach and stuff to get them out on a weekend. And things. I had to get them out of the parents' hair and that, and then he'd come back and all the kids would jump in the estate car and that, go down the beach for the day. He'd come back, have a pint, and go home for lunch and that. And it was the family wagon thing, wasn't it? And I mean, down where we were, I mean, the reason I said farmer car is because growing up in North Devon, there was a lot of farmers had the 240 estates, or the other ones we see a lot of first garage in Montego estates.
Montego, I was about to say that,
yeah. A lot of farmers had them because even though it was a car, it was one that you could fit a load of stuff in the back, couldn't it? You could fit.
Yeah, they were useful vehicles.
Yeah, you could fit a bunch of bales of hay in the back of it if you needed to, and things like that, to go and feed your horses or the sheep and that and everything. And they were good cars, and but because of that, they didn't have a very good sort of thing back then. But it baffles me that they're cancelling it now, when the estate car culture has become something cool. And it's like, well, okay, so you've gone past the point where they weren't really a young person's thing at all. They were just a utility vehicle, and now you're cancelling them. Now everyone thinks that everyone has got an estate car. Well, every petrolhead that I've spoken to has got an estate car they would love to have, whether it be like I say, a Stygia with the R34 front end on it, which is one I would love, or whether it's the BMW 535D, one of my friends has got, absolute rocket of a car, amazing car, and that's one I'd love to have.
Well, I own an estate car currently. I've got Mondeo estate.
That's it, and sadly that'll be one of the last Ford estates we'll probably see in this country outside of the forces, and the and the services and things like that. And this,
and the thing is they're being replaced by the SUV, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, some of them are very big vehicles, but they're not quite as spacious as an estate car.
No, and and the SUV to me, the current modern SUV to me, has always been more of one of those kind of
status.
Yeah, it's a car that doesn't really need to be there. You've got because we already had the estate car, then we already had things like my Shogun, which is like an SUV, but it's a real SUV. Because I mean, a lot of these SUVs are coming out now. Like you can get a front-wheel drive Range Rover Evoque. Yeah. But the thing is that'll get stuck in a grassy field if it rains. Yeah. And we're in the UK. It rains all the time.
Yeah. It's raining now.
Yeah, it is. It's raining outside now. It rains all the time here. We get like 3 days of dryness for summer. Yeah. And it's just, so I mean, they get stuck in a grassy field. If you go anywhere near a beach, you put it in sand, it's going to get stuck in sand. And the same with they do for, and I'm not just picking on the Range Rover, they do it with the Qashqai, they do it with the Duke, they do it with all these SUVs and things like that. They do a front wheel drive model, I'm guessing for cheaper tax, because they're trying to target all the 4x4s. So it's like, it's not really anything you could use as a sports utility vehicle. Like, no. You couldn't take it through the green lanes. I'd take my Shogun through, not without smashing all the plastic bumpers off. So there's no good for that. The boot's on half. I mean, the Duke's boot is a joke. It's like a Mini.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Yeah, it's absolutely tiny. You can't even fit a buggy in it. So I mean, you look at them, and it's just like, again. So it's not really as. They're not as practical. I wouldn't have said they're as practical as your estate cars, because half your estate cars you look in the back of have actually got more room than most of the SUVs. And I mean, again, before we get hate for this, I know there are big SUVs out there that got a lot more room in them and everything. But I mean,
majority though.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, like my Shogun, I love it. It's in every. I get why people like SUVs in a way, because my Shogun, I love it to bits. I love the higher up position, and I love the fact that I can green lane in it. I can go and do a tip run in it. I can tow. Like I've towed somebody out of a ditch the other day in it, and I can do all of those utility things. I could take it away, go camping in it, I can go down the beach in it, and I can go green lane in it. I can do all the stuff I want to do in that truck, and yet I can open up the boot, fold the seats down, and it's got just the same amount of space as an estate car. The only thing that lets it down for me is the fuel economy. But so a lot of people would say, yeah, that's where the SUV comes in. And I mean, yeah, it does in some ways, but then you're trading that fuel economy for worse four-wheel drive. So you wouldn't be able to go green lane as much unless you were happy to smash your bodywork up. You wouldn't be able to cart half the stuff up the tip you would be able to with it. Because mine's got the awesome four-wheel drive and the big engine, it will tow a house down, which you can't get on a lot of the SUVs as well. So
but
it's
also,
kind of like,
a lot of them are very heavy vehicles with much smaller engines now. A lot of the some of them are coming out with 1.4 engines now.
Yeah, the petrol ones, some of them 1.5 DCIs, the Nissan ones I'm thinking of, and the Kajars, things like that, 1.5s. I mean, I do get it, saving the planet and green and this and that and the rest of it. But again, they haven't got a lot of the ones that we've got on offer in this country, they're not like the SUVs you get in other countries. No. So I think they either need to up their game, or they need to go back to giving us the estate cars. I just think it's a stupid idea. Yeah, I love an estate car. Since we've had, well, this is the first time we've never had an estate car, and that's only because I got the Shogun, which is like an off-road estate car basically. And it's other than that, we've always had an estate car. Since having the first one, I was against them because I grew up with the dad saying, no, estate cars are for old people and all that lot. Yeah, I never really wanted one, but when we first met, well, not long after we first met, because your parents had the...
Oh yeah, they had a Vectra SRI estate.
Yeah, and that was after the Sierra estate, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had a Sierra gear estate, yeah.
And but yeah, and that car, I mean, I used to joke with you about it, say one day I'll buy that off your parents, because I loved that car. It was a graphite black, SRI 140, phase 1, like Vectra B, pre-facelift. And it was a black estate SRI, absolutely stunning. So I had the Armchair spoiler on it, the nice SRI wheels, and that was one of the few cars I brought that I never actually did any modifications to as well. I just kept it on the road because it was just such a nice car. I didn't want to do any modifications to it. And
then it got turned into a bobtail.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really a bobtail; it was a bob
front, wasn't it?
a bob head.
Yeah,
a hammerhead. But yeah, no, it was unfortunately it was written off. But yeah, it became my wife's car, and even she loved that one. That's the only car I've ever seen my wife gutted to lose was that car.
Yeah.
I will put a picture up if it hasn't already appeared.
And then you had the 3 Series estate after that, didn't you?
Yeah, we had the E36 3 Series estate, the 2.5 straight 6. Again, that was a very cool estate car.
Yeah.
Like I said, the ones we've had are cool. Like the Vectra SRI estate car, cool. E36 factory manual 323i 2.5 straight 6.
Yeah.
Awesome estate car. That was wicked. It sounded lovely as well. Even the neighbours said, I don't know what it is with you and your cars, because I had my E46 with a 3 litre straight 6. We had the E36 with the 2.5 straight 6, and then we had the truck with a 3 litre V6, all petrol. And one of the neighbours said to me one night, he said, what cars do you buy? He said, because all your cars sound awesome. And he's like, and he said, even your missus' car, and it's just like an old estate car. He said, that sounds amazing. I was like, yeah, it's got 2.5 litre straight 6 petrol in it. It sounds wicked.
Yeah, so estate cars could be fun.
Yeah, that was a wicked car. She loved that one. She loved the practicality of it, because I mean, we got kids, so I mean, they are a family car still now.
Yeah.
We got kids, but then you could still stick your foot down at the traffic lights, and then it was quite funny seeing, because our E36 was standard. It was not drifted, not boy raced. The only mod I did on it was push button start, because the ignition switch went down on it, and that was it. I put a push button start in it, so you had the switch start.
Well, think of the ultimate estate car, the RS6 Avant.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, look at things like that. That is one of my dream cars in this country. That one is
V10 estate car that can, well,
not just any V10. It was an engine they actually genuinely put in a Lamborghini. It was a Lamborghini V10 engine in an estate car. And I believe it still holds the record. It holds the UK record for the world's the fastest recorded
police chase, wasn't it?
Yeah, the fastest recorded speed of a police chase, and it was something like 192 or 100 or 202 miles an hour. It was up near the 200 mark, and that was in the UK. I'm pretty sure he went down for quite a lot of years like that. I tell you what, though, I bet he went into that prison a hero, though. Yeah. I bet everybody loved him. If you're going to go down swinging.
But this is the thing, is they very quickly went from, like you said, the uncool vehicle to the coolest vehicles.
That's it. I mean, you speak to a lot of my mates and that, they say that they would love a Golf R estate.
Yeah.
Because it's different to the normal Golf R. They'd rather have the ST estate, because, again, it's different and it's practical. And especially nowadays, since the lockdowns and everything, a lot of people are getting more into things like bikes, like windsailing and bodyboarding and surfing and all that sort of thing. So a lot of people are actually finding, actually, if I got a van or an estate car or something with a big space in it, I can use it for these cool hobbies I like doing.
Yeah, because the cool thing about an estate car is you don't need the roof racks for the surfboard. It fits inside. Yeah,
that's it. And it's like I say, it is cool for things like that, but it was just, people love the look of them. Because like you said, the Audi estates have always been nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, brother-in-law's got a lovely A4, I don't know if it's a black edition or something like that.
Yeah.
And that thing, it's a stunning looking car. I mean, it's only a 2 litre diesel. It's not mentally quick or a super duper like sporty one. But again, it looks the bee's knees in an estate car. I would say almost to the point where I prefer that to the saloon.
Yeah. And this is the thing, is like, they tick all the boxes.
That's it. And there's a lot of manufacturers out there. I mean, the other thing to think about as well, does that mean they're going to start off? Does that mean some of the ones that don't offer the option for hatchback are going to start offering them? Because don't get me wrong, I love my saloon cars, but the least practical, we've had loads of Vectra Bs, and the estate was just one of many. But the least practical Vectra we ever had was a saloon.
Yeah.
Because it's got a big boot, but you can't fit anything big into it, because the little tiny boot on the back of a saloon that opens up like that, you've only got a little hole to push things through. So you can fit a lot of small stuff in. So if you're going and doing a week's shopping, it's great. Just put your bags in. But if you want to go pick up a big TV or a piece of furniture, you can't do it.
Well, that's the beauty of my Mondeo estate. When the boot opens, it goes in at floor level, so there's no lip to go up and over. It just slides straight in.
Yeah, that's it.
Because even the Vectra had a beautiful sized boot on it, but you've got to go over a lip, and unfortunately the glass comes down, which stops you being able to put anything higher up.
Yeah, that's it. But I mean that Vectra, because it's the hatch, you can fit a big item in there if you need to.
You can still get a good size item in. But
that's what I mean. But like, if you think about it, because there's a lot of Audis that come in, and Mercs as well, and things like that, and Beamers, they don't do a 3 Series hatchback. They don't do a C-Class hatchback, as far as I know. They might do, and they don't do like the Audi A4s. They don't do hatchbacks, do they? You get an estate, or a saloon.
Yeah.
So are these? Does that mean? I mean, they're all German companies. Does that mean the Germans are going to have to start making hatchbacks, or are their sales going to drop off because we can't get their estate cars anymore? It's a bit of a.
Or are they going to turn all their stuff into SUVs?
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing. I suppose BMW have got the X1, 2, 3, 5, whatever they got going at the minute now.
Audi have got the Q range.
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing. And Merc have got
the
GLA.
Yeah, the M's and everything like that.
The MLs. You've got the GLAs. I suppose that's answered that question, isn't it? It's a shame, really, though, because that means, again, you're going to have either a saloon. That means for those manufacturers, you're going to have a saloon or an SUV.
Yeah, there's going to be no in between.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved my Beamer saloon.
Yeah,
because it had a really fast engine.
Yeah.
So it was just like, yeah, cool. But I hope they don't take away the coupes. If you take away the coupes, then we're really going to fucking fall out.
But let us know what you think, guys. Have you had an estate car, or would you like to have an estate car? Or do
you think we're old and that's why we like the estate car? We don't want to let it go.
Yeah, have you got an SUV and think it's the best thing in the world, or have you got an SUV and think it could be better?
Yeah, because I mean that's one thing. I mean, to be honest, we're talking from a point of view. Or I'm talking from a point of view. I mean, people are saying you don't own one. Yeah, but I mean, fair enough. I'm talking from a point of view where I've got an old SUV or an old 4x4. It's not an SUV. It's just 4x4. And cars, and I mean I've driven the SUVs for work, so I mean I've not got no experience with them, but I've never owned one, so yeah, let us know. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Well, my wife has an SUV. She's got a Peugeot 2008 GT.
Is that an SUV?
Yeah, I suppose it is to a certain extent. It's a raised vehicle, isn't it? It is of a certain size.
I always just thought, that's the thing, what is an SUV as well? Because I tell you what, I would call that a tall car. I didn't think that was an SUV, I didn't know. So, damn, I'm old.
What is an SUV?
Yeah, what is an SUV? Maybe we should have started a video with that instead before going on the attack. But
yeah, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
An SUV is.
Yeah. Oh, see you in the next one if you haven't unsubscribed because of this one.
Cheers.
Cheers.